it's Olivia-Savannah here from Olivia's Catastrophe, and today I'm here to do a reading vlog that I've done for the past few years, and it's always to celebrate my best friend's birthday. My best friend is called Yana, and she is the best friend of all the best friends that a girl could possibly have. I absolutely love her to bits. What I do is I read books that she has enjoyed and recommended to me, or wants my thoughts on, or just something that I know Yana wants me to read, and that's because I'm terrible at getting around to my friends and my sisters' recommendations on time, and I think it's a nice thing that I can do for their birthday is to read these books and let you know my thoughts. I hope Yana has seen this coming because I have done it for the past few years, and it would be silly if you didn't see it coming, Yana. I'm going to read two books for this vlog. I've already chosen what the two books are, and the very first one that I'm going to be reading is Bridgerton Book 2. I realise now I don't know what the title is, but this is what the cover looks like. This is by Julia Quinn. I read the first Bridgerton book last year and I was like, wow, this is really good actually, and I have seen all of the series except for the latter half of Queen Charlotte season because I DNF'd that, and so I was like, oh, this is really good. Yana, you might like the Bridgerton books. Why do I tell her these things? She has now gone and read several of the books in the series. I've still only read the first one, and she said the second one is even better in some ways than the second season, so I am now going to read the second book, and I will be breaking it down and comparing it to the second season. I'm going to try my best to do this in a spoiler-free way, but I'm excited because I'm looking forward to continuing the series myself. I don't own the books yet. I did do the Illumicrate pre-order for the special editions, but I am borrowing the second book from my library as an e-copy, so I'm reading on my Kindle, which rarely gets used, but you know, Yana reads on her Kindle a lot, so this is me echoing that in some way or form. So let me start the book and I'll give you some updates as we go. Alright, so I'm taking a quick break from my workday before the light goes away to give you an update on Bridgerton. But before I do, the footage that you're seeing at the moment in the B-roll is footage from vlogs that have died a very sad death. So I have filmed a number of vlogs in 2024 and also 2025 that will not see the light of day. For whatever reason, I started the vlog and I didn't finish it, or just, you know, times have moved on and it's just not really gonna happen. But that does mean there were times in life where I was filming B-roll and I've got nothing to do with it. So I'm just going to be inserting some of the B-roll footage into this vlog. So you may have just seen me have a lovely day with Yana who is not actually here, and I'll have different hairstyles in some of the B-roll, but that is what I have put out. But that leads me on to talking about the books. So I am still reading The Viscount Who Loved Me. I am halfway through, and I made it halfway through in 2 days. I am absolutely loving this book, and I'm loving it even more than season 2 of Bridgerton. Season 2 of Bridgerton is a book, is a film, is a series. It's a series. Season 2 of Bridgerton is a series that actually emphasizes, you know, a love triangle situation, and it's quite skewed in the TV series, and you see in the love triangle a couple together more than you see another couple, and because of that I think one of the characters in the series is actually very robbed, because reading the book it focuses much more distinctly and clearly on Kate, our main character, and the love interest. By focusing on Kate and the love interest, we have so much more perspective into their romance and into how they suit each other and how they fit each other, rather than seeing one of our love interests have a whole romance with somebody else for the majority of the season. And so I'm enjoying the book a lot more because it really is focused on Kate and Anthony and their coupledom and them together, and that is so enjoyable for me to see. I don't typically enjoy enemies to lovers, and I wouldn't say that this is enemies to lovers anyway. This is what I like to call dislike, strong dislike to lovers. It's done it so well. I completely understand and believe why Kate would not like Anthony, why Anthony would not like Kate. I think all of their reasons and all of their opinions are so believable and so genuine. I, as a sibling, a lot of this has to do with being a sister or a brother. As a sibling, I completely agree with and understand both sides of their opinions, and so I feel very emotionally invested in seeing them work it out and get to know each other. And as they do, they've kind of done the, you know, dislike to lovers where they do have that friendship period in between, or like a reluctant understanding between, and that's when I can believe and ship a romance, when it starts in dislike, when you understand their motivations and you understand how they're going to get from A to B, even though they're not at B yet. I believe that they can get there. I can see how that would work and that trajectory, and that's what making me love this all the more. It's so funny. It's so funny. I think there are so many times when I read romance books and I'm like, the romance genre is wonderful, but you're labeling all of these things a rom-com, and where is the com? Where's the humor? This has the humor, and it's not even labeled a rom-com. It's a historical romance, but it's funny. They find themselves in such funny situations. I cracked up laughing and I couldn't stop at a certain scene where they play a certain game, which if you've watched the season, you'll know what episode that is, and you'll know what the game is. But I actually found it all the more funnier in the book, and they just cracked me up so much. So I've been loving that. There are also quite a few differences, you know, in this season you quickly figure out who Lady Whistledown is, but in this one it still has a sense of mystery. And if I hadn't seen the season, I would not know who it is, because I can see the hints and the trails that have been left for me, which I'm really enjoying. I really like Anthony as a character here. He's so much more likable than in the TV series. He just really is, and I find him to be so intelligent, but you can understand the weight and responsibility that he is carrying as the oldest son in this family. And Kate, as the oldest daughter, feels a lot of those same, like, similar responsibilities, but in a slightly different way, because also her position in the family is slightly different as a stepsister, an older stepsister. It's given us so much more insight to their sisterhood, and I love seeing Kate and Edwina together. I like their banter, I like how they complement each other. They feel very Chloe x Halle to me, where one seems shyer and more sensitive, but you know, she's still cheeky. She still has a cheeky older sister who gets along with her, so she still has that level of humour. And then Kate is just a wonderful older sister who would do anything for her sister, and I can relate, you know, I can relate to that. Whenever the descriptions of Kate and Kate's relatives are mentioned, I ignore them. I still visually try and pretend that we're getting the diversity from the show, but it's not, you know, in the book. It's also just much more straightforward romance because we are following these two characters. I do think there are some minor shifts that I just prefer in the TV series other than the diversity. I've noticed in this book and in the previous book, the love confession moment is not a love confession moment. So what, if you've watched the TV series, what is a love confession moment in the TV show is just a love realization internally in the books. Not really a spoiler, but I like that the TV series makes those moments vocal and out loud because they are so passionate, and I love that that passion is told to the love interest rather than thought in their head. In terms of Yana's thoughts on this, I've actually been telling Yana my thoughts on my reading as I go. I don't know if she's figured out that that means I'm filming this video, but she did mention like, oh, when you do the videos, as a surprise for me, it means we never actually get to talk in real time about the book and share thoughts and opinions. So I'm doing that this time, even though it might make, sorry, this is a hair tie, even though it might make a bit repetitive for Yana to watch this video, but it's not repetitive for you as viewers. So I hope you're still enjoying the content. Let's go back to some more like backlist vlog moments, and then I'll be back when I finish this book and I'm ready to start my second read. I have been on my feet all day cleaning this flat from top to bottom, or all morning I should say, and I'm about to make myself some white hot chocolate and read my book. But before doing that, I need to let you know that I have finished reading The Viscount Who Loved Me, and I really enjoyed reading this book. It was so good, and there were a lot more changes, like a lot more towards the latter half, but I still just really prefer the book in terms of how much it makes the romantic relationship make a lot more sense. And it was also very insightful to read the author's note, because it was about a condition, like a mental condition, that a lot of men form while grieving, and I found that very fascinating to have included in a romance book. I don't think I can say too much without giving the game away, even when it comes to, you know, comparing this book to the TV series. I do think if I talk about it extensively, I will give the game away, but there was just so much more that I enjoyed about the side characters, about their relationships, and about how we got to see so much more time with Kate and Anthony after certain events had happened. What I will say though is that this was the time when the steamy scene, the main steamy scene, didn't actually work for me. Because this is like a historical fiction romance, the main steamy scene that can happen has to be after certain events, right? But in this one, there was more language that was like leaning towards the patriarchal system of like, he's the man and she's the woman, he can have her way with her whatever way he wants, even though, you know, Anthony's clearly not going to do that because he cares about Kate. But the language is there, and that kind of drew me out of the romance a little bit more. But I think that is part and parcel of most historical romances that are trying to be historically romance accurate. But overall, I just really enjoyed this, and I'm going to continue to enjoy and read the rest of the series. That said, we do need to read another book for this vlog. So the second book that I'm going to be reading to celebrate Yarden's birthday is The Lesbiana's Guide to Catholic School. Actually, let me go and get that. So I've had this book for a very long time, and it's about time that I pick it up. Look at these sprayed edges. They're so cute. How could I not have read this? It's a YA contemporary book, and I know that Yana has started reading it. I don't actually know if she's finished it, but I know she was very excited when I said, oh, I also have this book on my shelf, because she was loving it, and I was like, oh, I should read it soon. Proceed for me to not read it for the rest of the year. But we are here in the month where I read things she recommends, and so I'm going to read it now. This one is following our 16-year-old main character, who is known for being the only Mexican girl at her mostly white Catholic school, but it's a good thing, nobody knows that she's gay. She's keeping that secret, she's keeping it down low. It becomes harder for our main character to fake being straight when she's starting to form a crush on the other girl who is queer, who is at the school. So sounds like it's going to be very romance focused, but also like it could very much tackle religious themes and queerness, which I always find quite fascinating to read about. I actually forgot is that we are halfway through this reading vlog, which means we actually need to choose a tea from the advent calendar, which is fantastic because of the fact that I would like to have a cup of tea halfway through my work day today to give me motivation, because I've got a lot on my work to-do list. I'm about to start my work day. I'm working from home today, but I guess because I'm already here in front of the camera, I can give you a bit of an update on starting The Lesbiana's Guide to Catholic School, because I read the first 50 pages this morning and we're off to a very good start. It gets straight into its themes, because we've got these two children and the mum, and they are living without their dad because of the fact that the dad has been deported back to Mexico, and the mum spent a lot of money trying to like fight the legal battle, but the system failed them and the dad has had to go back to Mexico, which is just such a heartbreaking situation that the deportation and the laws have broken apart a family unit and separated them from each other, which I think is something that goes against some of the values that, you know, culture pushes, that families should stay together, that they should be united, especially as this is set in the US. So like American values around the family have been ruined because of deportation rules. So I just find it interesting the places where values contradict each other because of the laws set, and how hate is winning over the core values that you're trying to promote. So I just think that's a very interesting thing to see straight away in this book. But also I just love our main character Yamilet straight away, because she is talking about the fact that she is trying to blend in into this school, and she is just crushing so hard straight away from the get-go. And it's so funny because in her mind she keeps thinking like, I need to pretend to be straight, I need to pretend to be straight, and I'm just like, girl, you're so gay. She's so gay she can't help it, and I find that very entertaining to read, but also quite heartbreaking, you know, the fact that she has to try and close off a whole like part of herself and her identity, and she's very worried about coming out to her mum because her mum is also Catholic and is a very staunch believer. And you know, I just find it really important as an ally to the community and also as a Christian to make sure that, you know, to speak louder about my allyship because of the fact that I'm a Christian, because there are, you know, Christianity is not seen as a religion that is inclusive naturally. It means it's just your duty and your importance to speak louder about being an ally for the things that you're an ally for, so other people can really know that you're a safe space, even if they might not immediately think safe space when they see you or hear about your label or get to know you in the beginning. So yeah, it just reminds me like I need to be repping the allyship hard, but also it's just so disappointing that the community around the faith that I've built has values that are very contradictory, and I know it's going to get painful reading this book at times, but it's important to read it. But yeah, that's, I read 50 pages and I have so many thoughts, but you know, we're here to now use the advent calendar and see what we're going to get for day 2. Hopefully it's going to be one I haven't tried before now. Here's 2. I was struggling to find the number 2. I was like, have I already pulled 2? But no I have not. So I think, yeah, as soon as I take one out, all of these need to kind of reshuffle a little bit, because otherwise they're just gonna fall out. Remember, looking at the box tells you too much information before you get there. So number 2, and what does it say flavor wise? Okay, this is Earl Grey cream. Creamy and fragrant Earl Grey. Do you know what? The good thing about the Tea Pigs tea, ooh, that smells good. The good thing about the Tea Pigs calendar is that I told you a little bit about the tea, but this doesn't actually tell me anything about Earl Grey cream. Should I look it up? Ooh, that's quite nice. Smells really nice. Okay, I'm actually gonna look up what they say about their Earl Grey cream tea, so I can just give you a bit more insight, because I like knowing about the teas in the advent calendar. Okay, so this is the information that you want to hear. So, fresh and fragrant with a hint of vanilla, our best-selling award-winning Earl Grey blend has been part of our collection since day 1. It's named after our Prime Minister in the 19th century, Earl Grey, and is a classic British breakfast tea. Ours is a little more elevated than your average cuppa though, because it contains oil from the bergamot plant and high-quality tea blended with notes of vanilla. This is how you boost your brew. Oh, I wish they put that in the calendar, but you know what? I will keep looking it up each time we pull it, so you can hear a little spiel about the tea. Tea's so important to me and to others. And yeah, that's it. Let's brew some tea and read some more of this brilliant YA book. Hello, I'm here to give you an update. It's my birthday today, so the day that I'm filming this. If you know both of our birthdays, we're actually very close to my best friend's birthday. This happens literally every year. I start this video sometime in January. I hope it's always early January, but it's usually mid-January, and I'm doing it until the final wire, so it's gonna be a push. But the good news is I'm halfway through reading the last book for this vlog, and that is the Lesbiana's Guide to Catholic School, and I am loving this. So this is a YA book, but I would classify it as upper YA, and everything that I've said so far is true. But this is so chaotic. She is so chaotic in how she's trying to stay straight in this school, and everything she does I'm like internally screaming. She makes assumptions, she does things that I just like, why are you doing it? But it's a teenager is doing the teenagery things, and also even though I'm screaming inside, I'm low-key enjoying it because it's adding to the drama and the stress that I experience as a reader. But at the same time, there's a lot of heartfelt emotional stuff in this book. There is something about being queer and the coming out process that does rob you of some sense of childhood, you know? And this book is very much addressing that. The choices about trying to come out to your parents is very, I don't always think all media shows how much that is a life or death situation to some people, but also you could become homeless. Like, it is so, there's so much that hooks around that, and there's so much about trying to suppress your identity until the point where you are financially able to support yourself. That is very scary and very petrifying, and it just breaks my heart, because can you imagine a world where your teenagers know growing up that it will be perfectly fine to come out to you. They see you watching queer shows and reading queer books, or even if not doing that much, even if none of that is your thing, just saying statements around your child so that they know that you support the queer community and that you are an ally, making sure you're celebrating pride and recognizing it, so that whether or not your children are straight or queer, they can feel safe and comfortable in your presence. Because as parents, right, I'm not a parent, I don't know why I pointed to myself, but if you are a parent, your goal should be making sure your child is as comfortable and as happy as they possibly can be, if you're not a bigot, that is. And if you aren't, if you are, you should rethink that status of your life. But if you're not, you do want your child to be happy and comfortable in every single way. And I think it can be easy for people who aren't queer to forget that showing your child that you accept them for becoming whoever they are includes queerness. And reading this book just makes that all the more clear to me, because she is petrified of what her parents can or cannot do. And we've also got secondary characters who are queer in this, and it's also petrifying for them what they go through. I actually was going to be talking about the fact that the Mexican representation is done really well. It shows how the racism is still so rife within those communities, and I'm sure it's felt very particularly in the US, which is very close to Mexico. Just the fact that deportation has separated this family out, but also just so many things that there's a lot of crossover to being a black person of colour. You know, the fear for the cops, the fact that people look away when racist things are said or done. This is handling that spectacularly. So even though this is a beautiful book with a lovely cover and sprayed edge, please, please, please understand going into this, it deals with a lot of difficult themes. I'm halfway, and I know certain things that need to happen because I read the content warnings before reading this book. I rarely ever actually read the content warnings before I dive into a book, just because I myself currently don't have any triggers at the moment. But I did for this particular book, and so I do think the content warnings are important. I'm going to leave the content warnings in the description box down below, and the most important one you need to know is the very first thing in the description box. But so far I am loving this. I love it. I love the sibling relationship and their dynamic, some of their silly funny moments which adds lightheartedness to this story, but also some of the more intense moments. And there is a side character called Hunter, okay? That boy, he is the loveliest boy. He was just very earnest and very innocent and very awkward. Ugh. Sweethearts, all of them. And so I just love Hunter. I think he actually might be my favorite character, just because I think he's so cute and so sweet, and I just want him to grow up into a lovely man one day and be the nicest person going, you know? That's what I hope for him. So that's how I feel about this book so far. And I also brewed the Earl Grey cream tea, which is right next to me. I'm very excited to give it a try. So as far as Earl Grey teas go, I can understand why it's called the Earl Grey cream tea. When it said cream tea, I was like, what's going to be creamy about it? But it genuinely is the Earl Grey flavour if it was a little bit creamier. And I drink my teas black, so I imagine that if you are someone who does steep this for longer and adds milk to your tea, it's going to taste even creamier. But it's actually nice. It's quite a light-hearted layer on the Earl Grey that way. So if you like your Earl Grey with milk in it, I recommend this one. And if you like your Earl Grey light, I recommend this one. However, I drink a lot of tea, and of all the teas I've drunk, the best Earl Grey still remains Whitted's Earl Grey. Whitted's Earl Grey is very strong on the Earl Grey flavour, so if you're like me and you drink your tea black, Whitted is the brand for you. Go for it, you're going to love how flavoursome it is, especially their loose leaf Earl Grey. But if you are someone who puts milk in your tea, this is the one that I would recommend for you. I'm here because I finished reading the Lesbiana's Guide to Catholic School. 5 stars, 5 stars, 5 stars. I absolutely loved this. I was an emotional wreck through those last few chapters, and I think in a video that I filmed but haven't shared yet, I talk a lot more about why exactly books with queer representation and Christianity representation really affect me emotionally. So of course this affected me emotionally, but I really love when a book shows the full range of reactions. So it doesn't sugarcoat anything, it shows the realities of what can happen when you're queer and you come out to your family members who you believe may be homophobic due to jokes and things that they've made. It shows how sometimes that can go well and sometimes that can go not so well. And the ending was just, it feels weird to say it's so joyful because it is so joyful. These teenagers go through so much and then by the end of the book you're just happy for them, but it's also not an entirely happy ending because of people around them and what they do. So not spoiling anything, I don't want to say this ends in like rainbows and sunshine because it does not, but it is still what feels like and ends on a very happy, a very hopeful ending. This deals with a very intense subject matter. I did say about the content warning, I think it handles that very tough subject matter well and also realistically, and I just don't want anybody who shouldn't be surprised by it to be surprised by it, so please just read the content warnings because there's a lot going on in this book, but I really think the author has handled all of it very well. The writing is great, the characterization is great, the storyline is great, and I know that there is a sequel now which is called The Golden Boy's Guide to Bipolar. So it will probably have bipolar representation in it, seeing as it's in the title. But yes, I absolutely loved this. This was 5 stars. I was actually talking to Yana about it this morning. I finished this vlog fairly early for me. It's 4 days ahead of Yana's birthday. And I've actually already edited the first half of this vlog. So we are on board for it to post without it being stressful at all. I think that once again demonstrates by the fact that I found my second 5-star of the year and also really enjoyed reading a Bridgerton book and continued on a series, that my best friend's reading taste is superb. I already knew this, but this year once again proves it. I literally don't think I've read a book for one of these like Yana reading vlogs where I haven't enjoyed my experience. So I think that means Yana should start a booktube channel. She's not going to do that. But yeah, I'll just keep reading her recommendations probably in January right before your birthday. I apologize and I love you so much, Yana. I hope you're having the very best day. Please comment in the description box down below what has been your first 5-star read of the year. And if you haven't found your first 5-star read yet, what do you predict may be your first 5-star read? Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, hit the subscribe button if you want to see more, and don't forget to hit that notification bell to be updated every time I have a new video. And you know what they say, onwards and upwards, Excelsior!